Hi everybody, it's Tatiana and I am coming today to do the hashtag ReadSoLit tag. This was created by the queen and creator of hashtag ReadSoLit, Dee Dee from Brown Girl Reading, and I will link her channel in the description box below. If you are not familiar with her channel, I invite you to crawl from under your rock. There are 11 questions in this tag, and so I'm going to go ahead and get started so that this video is not ridiculously long. Question number 1. What books are you looking forward to reading this February in honor of Black History Month? The first book I'm looking forward to reading, I've already started, and that is the read-along or group read book for hashtag ReadSoLit this year, and it is Unforgivable Love by Sophronia Scott. This is a retelling of Dangerous Liaisons set in Harlem during the Harlem Renaissance. And I am not quite halfway through with this. I'm actually reading this differently this year than I have any with the other read-alongs that we've done. And instead of just plowing through the book, first I am reading per week what the set pages are for that week, and then once I reach that point I will read something else that's on my TBR. So I am halfway through, a little bit more than halfway through the pages for this current week, which is the week of the 7th, and then I will move on to the next book that I am looking forward to reading this month, and that is Queen Sugar by Natalie Bazile. This has as everyone knows, has been adapted into a television show, so I'm looking forward to reading this to see what the hype is, and we'll see if I like this and if I want to watch the show after reading this. And then the other book that I am excited about, or was excited about reading, is Praise Song for the Butterflies by Bernice L. McFadden, which I've already read. And there is a review either uploaded or on the way at the point that this video is being uploaded to YouTube. Question number 2. Cite and talk about a classic hashtag ReadSoLit book published before 1970 that you love. Now, I'm going to be completely transparent and honest about this. I do not have a lot of classics on my own shelf. I have read The Color Purple, and oh crud, there's another one that popped in my head and just as quickly popped out, but I don't own them. The only book that is a classic that I have on my shelf is I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. This is a super duper old copy, and I have not read this in years. So I really can't talk much about it except stating that I really enjoyed it at the point that I read it, which I want to say was in high school. This was published in 1969. So first thing on my list is I need to reread this so that it's more in my head than it is all of these years later after reading it. But I also need to get on the ball with reading some more classics by Black authors, particularly that were written before 1970. I didn't realize how much of a gap there was on my bookcases. Not even a gap, how much was missing in my own personal library regarding this. So thanks, Dee Dee, for pointing that out so that I can work on that. Question number 3. What hashtag ReadSoLit book would you like to see adapted to film? Now, I am not going to say what I wanted to say because Dee Dee already said it. So I am going to say An Unkindness of Ghosts by Rivers Solomon. I think this adapted to film would be so radical and so jarring because there are so many classic themes of African American history that are brought forth in this book, but it takes place on a generation ship. So to see this, the themes and the issues that we know have existed in the past and have been problems in the past, still present in the future on a generation ship, I think would be exceptionally jarring and point out to people who haven't yet realized how much of a fuckery things are right now, how much of a fuckery things are right now. Question number 4, show and talk about one of your favorite hashtag Read So Lit books by a male author. For that, I am going to pick Dead Above Ground by Jervy Tervalan. I read this years ago and I thoroughly enjoyed this. I don't even know if he's still writing novels. That's how long it's been since I have even looked at this book. This takes place or is set in New Orleans, and it's actually following, I can't remember if this is a sequel to or a prequel to Lita, also by Jervy Tervalan. I hope I'm saying his name correctly, but this takes place in New Orleans, and it is the story of Lita growing up and attempting to get above and beyond the hand and control of her mother, and in doing so she falls into a revenge plot against, or that is being orchestrated by someone who hates her mother. And there's a whole plethora of family secrets and skeletons that are pulled out of the closet as a result of that. And yeah, how she deals with that, with the issues that are brought forth in that, and how she deals with the feelings of betrayal and disloyalty that stem from that experience. And I thoroughly enjoyed this. I know I read this after reading Lita. So I don't think they have to be read in, or did I? Wait a minute. No, this is first and then Lita is second. Lita is her going for reconciliation, and it's kind of, if I had to compare what the stories are kind of like, it's kind of like Sugar and This Bitter Earth, where in the first novel you have the backstory of Sugar and the issues that surround not just Sugar but the people that she comes in contact with when she moves into this town, as well as her neighbors. And then This Bitter Earth is her reconciliation story and coming to terms with her past. That's what these two books kind of are. And yeah, so that was long. Question number 5. What hashtag Read So Lit new release or new releases are you excited about this year? And I'm just going to cite 2 because I really think that there are only 2 at this point that are blaring at me. And one is Children of Virtue and Vengeance by Tomi Adeyemi, which is the sequel to Children of Blood and Bone, which was released last year. That's been pushed back to a June 4th release date. It was originally set to be released in March. And also The Deep by River Solomon, which is a novelized take on the song The Deep by Clipping. I will put a link to it in the description box below if you have not listened to it. It's really, really neat. And the story that's told in the song is exceptional. It's great. But River Solomon is doing a novelized version of that song, and it's the story of the descendants of Africans who jumped off of slave ships into the ocean to resist being taken into slavery. So they drowned in the ocean, and it's the story of their descendants. And it's like, I think it's gonna be really, really neat. So yeah, check out the song so that you can get more of where that song is, where the book is going to be coming from and how it came to be. And yeah, I'm super looking forward to that. I don't remember what the release date is for that though. Question number 6. A lot of us diehard fans refer to Toni Morrison as the Queen. Which writer do you feel could be the next queen in African American literature? And I have to piggyback on Dee Dee with this and say Bernice L. McFadden. When I went through my own shelves, and there are so many authors who I think really could be the next queen but don't have the established greatness of a bibliography that Bernice L. McFadden has. And when I say established greatness, either every book is great, pretty much like Bernice L. McFadden's books, or the number of books in their bibliography is not as deep as Bernice L. McFadden's. Outside of Bernice L. McFadden, I would say Tananarive Due. But her bibliography and solo works and novels, full-length novels, like she has the contributions to short story collections and books that she writes with her husband. But her solo bibliography is not as deep as Bernice McFadden's. Not that that's a bad thing, because I love Tananarive Due's writing. So if I had to pick and it not be Bernice L. McFadden, I would say Tananarive Due. That was a long answer too. Jeez. Number 7. What's the last book by an African-American author you read, loved, and gave 4 or 5 stars? And I'm not going to say any books that I've read this month thus far, so I'm going to go with An Unkindness of Ghosts by Rivers Solomon. Number 8. Show some beautiful books written by African-American authors. Dead Above Ground by Jervie Tervalon. Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. Electric Arches by Eve Ewing. This is a poetry collection and this cover is absolutely stunning. I have to say Kindred by Octavia Butler, because this cover literally called to me as I walked past it on a shelf at Barnes & Noble the first time I bought it. And I think this is so, minus the sticker. The original copy I bought didn't have the sticker on it, but I just think this is so gorgeous. Balm by Dolan Perkins Valdez. This is stunning. The Book of Phoenix by Nnedi Okorafor. And I absolutely love these new covers of Parable of the Sower and Parable of the Talents for these new hardback releases by Octavia Butler. I think it was Rachel from Rachel Ray who said that the covers were done by IG artists, which I think is so neat. Yeah, and I love the way these look. And then all 3 covers of the Binti trilogy. I think all of these are gorgeous, particularly, yes, because it's blue, but particularly for Binti Home. But all 3 of these covers are gorgeous. Number 9, Black History Month is about its people. What book would you like to read to learn more about African Americans? And the only book that I have on my radar right now has been a book that's been on my radar for probably 4 years, which is The Want of Other Sons by Isabel Wilkerson. I have not read that. For those of you who've been subscribed here for a while, you know I do not read a lot of nonfiction, and when I do, it often takes me a while to get through it. But I really want to read that because I have not read any stories that have to do with the Great Migration. And I haven't found any fictional stories about it outside of like liberation stories, and the stories end once liberation is achieved. So I'm really interested in reading that. It's nonfiction and I just haven't gotten to it yet because my brain has a block sometimes when it comes to nonfiction. So what number is this? 10. Show what you're currently reading from your hashtag #ReadSoLit TBR, and I've already shared that, and that is Unforgivable Love by Sophronia Scott. I will probably finish tonight the rest of the pages in this week's block, so from that I will go to Queen Sugar by Natalie Bazile. And then the last question or prompt is to tag 5 or more people to do this tag. Now, totally acknowledging the fact that it is February 12th when I am recording this video. I will hopefully get this up by the 15th. So that means that there's like a week and some change left in the month of February, as this month is the shortest month of the year. So I will tag some people, but I don't want you to think, number one, that you have to get this out in the month of February, because we do Read So Lit all year long. So you can do this at any time, and I will suggest the change of just question 1, if Dee Dee, if you don't mind, instead of having it be what books are you looking forward to reading this February in honor of Black History Month, just change that to what books by African American authors are you looking forward to reading this month, and then you can use it for any month of the year. I love this tag because it has the staying power that you can just redo this every February, or hell, every month, and the prompts, the answers to your questions, to most of these questions could be different. So yeah, after going through all of that, I am going to tag Freeform Lady, Doris from Aldi Books, Bookie Charm, KT, Stephanie from Time to Read, ! Robin Loves Reading, and Bree Hill. I will link all of those channels in the description box below. And yeah, have fun with the tag. That is all that I have for today. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a good weekend, whenever you see this video. Peace out.